Thank you so much for staying with us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jax Miller, and welcome as always to our viewers on onespotmedia.com. So in today's program, we're going to be talking to some of the national awardees. We are going to be talking to two of the nurses who received awards for saving over 20 babies when there was a fire at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital 4 years ago. And later on in the program, we are going to be talking as well to the groundbreaking former policewoman Novelet Grant. She also a national awardee. We're also going to be talking about the Reggae Girls and their historic qualification for the World Cup. That coming up a little bit later on, but we are going to be linking by telephone with Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who we now have online. Prime Minister, thank you so much for talking to us. Okay, we don't quite have him yet. We will have him shortly. In the meantime, thank you both so much for joining us on All Angles. We do appreciate it. And congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
And of course, we're talking to Nurse Sophia Cameron as well as Nurse Camille McIntosh and one of your other colleagues, Nurse Verlin Dowse, unable to be here, but also one of the awardees. So tell me how you feel having been awarded for this. Let me ask you first, Nurse Cameron.
It's really an honor. I feel really honored to be awarded.
But take me back 4 years ago. At what point, Nurse McIntosh, did you realize there was something going on?
Well, I was in the nursing office at the time, and I received a call. I thought it was strange because all I heard was fire at the nursery, and the call ended. And I was working alongside Nurse Paula Smith. She's another nurse that was with me in the office. And I said to her, I just got the strangest call. They said, fire in the nursery. And I said, fire in the nursery?
So it didn't click immediately?
Because they had just called me to ask for relief. Yes. And I told them that the nurse would be late. And the next call I got, a couple seconds after the first call, was fire at the nursery. I said, that's fire at the nursery? So I said, excuse me. So on my way, the nurse is on the first floor. Or rather the second floor. We're on the ground floor, so the nurse is on the first floor. And on my way up the stairs, I heard Nurse Cameron saying, fire. So I just quickly turned back, shouted to the securities, there's a fire at the nursery, alarmed the fire brigade, and called for help. And I went up the stairs, and we just started getting the babies out, really.
So at what point, nurse, did you realize there was a problem then?
Actually, I was the person that it started with. I was on duty. I reported for the afternoon duty, 2 o'clock until 10 p.m. So at 9:30, I called the nursing office to speak with Sister McIntosh, who was responsible for staffing for the night, and asked her, what about my relief? But then while talking to her, I heard one of the machines that was attached to the baby making an alarm, so I knew something was wrong. So just then I turned around, and when I looked in the room, I realized that the baby's oxygen saturation was falling. So I quickly hung up the phone and I rushed to the baby, realizing that the baby needed to be suctioned. So just as I started setting up my apparatus, my suction machine, to suction the baby, I heard a popping sound to the left of the room. And then I looked up. When I looked up, I didn't see anything at the time. Then I proceeded to suction. And just as I reached for the oxygen cylinder to turn it on, I heard the sound even louder. This time, when I looked up, I saw a puff of thick black smoke. And then I saw fire coming from the AC unit. And that's when I realized that something was really going wrong. There was a fire.
Well, what was your first emotion?
Actually, my first emotion was, in my head, I was, Lord have mercy. And so I shouted for Nurse Dowse, who was in another room on the nursery, and I said, Dowse, fire. And I don't think she heard me. She said, come in. I said, no, you need to come now. There's a fire. And so Nurse Dowse came running into the room, and we just started to, by this time the place was like engulfed with smoke, thick black smoke.